Let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me.
Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and a very special day today as it's Friday, so it's the end of the weekend, which means nothing changes because Bitcoin's going to trade over the weekend. In fact, Bitcoin's looking like we want to set up some pretty big moves perhaps in this weekend session. So we got a lot to talk about there. I want to follow up from yesterday's analysis as well. My bias is going to obviously be very much wrong, but that's why we talk about invalidation points and obviously at the end of the day, probabilities. So with regards to all of that, I want to say that, I want to apologize for not being on Twitch yesterday night. I was actually setting up this new computer, which is just so much of a fucking monstrous beast. I can't even put it on this desk right now because it's so massive. I'm actually gonna have to buy another desk just to be able to fit it up, but really excited for it. And hopefully sometime over the weekend, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday, when I have enough time, when I have enough free hours, I can get it fully set up and we can start getting on to some more greener pastures on the good old Twitch. Anyways, that also reminds me to talk about Twitch. I will be on tonight, very likely sometime between 8 or 9 a.m. Eastern time start time, and we'll be on for like 3 or 4 hours, whatever it ends up being. With all of that said, very important announcement today before I forget. The Krown trading application going to be coming out, and that's just going to be the first page for today. It's going to come out later today, probably near the end of the day for the Western Hemisphere, I'd imagine. And like I said, it's only going to have the first page on it at launch, and then with each and every passing week, we're going to be adding more and more. So it's just going to be very bare bones just to roll out with later tonight, and of course 100% free. So enjoy. Anyways, I'll make an announcement likely later tonight, maybe on Discord. Well, actually, I'll probably be asleep by that time. Definitely tomorrow, Saturday, and perhaps even a video on Monday, depending upon where we're at. Anyways, with all that said, I want to wish you the best of the best and the happiest, man. You made it all the way to Friday, or girl, or female, or furries, or whatever the fuck gender pronouns people use nowadays. Hey, it's all about intent, and you know what? I'm wishing you well. So with that said, I want to teleport into live scene right over here because we have plenty to discuss. And there she goes. Oh, baby. And into the live scene we go. Bitcoin, no, not Bitcoin. The total market cap actually on the daily right here. And the reason why I'm pointing up this is because we do have a very good reaction right at that white 200 moving average on the daily right here, which I do look at as a major inflection point on the market. We're going to have a chance to close above it today. And if we do close above it, I would be looking for a retest of our last prior highs that we put in late October, which would likely align with the market popping back up and Bitcoin testing around that next major macro area around 94-9500ish region. Doesn't mean that's going to happen today or tomorrow, but would imply that we probably test it maybe next week or something like that. As it stands right now, we do see that many good things going on right here. And I just need to see that next sort of closure of this last little order block that we put in a few days ago, it looks like. So any sort of a closure essentially above, what do we want to call it? Let's call it like 240 billion just to be a little bit more conservative here. Any sort of a daily total closure above there later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And yes, I would be looking for this take the next leg up into this next pocketed territory right here where the macro will actually be in danger of really actually of legitimately changing here. So we have like a legitimate macro behavior change, meaning that the weekly is now once again in an uptrend, and the weekly trend has been your friend, or at least it wants to be your friend. If you let it be your friend, it will be your friend. And the weekly reversals on both Bitcoin spot and I'd imagine the total market cap as well, because it's pretty much the same fucking chart, have gotten all the major moves in Bitcoin. So that would be akin to Bitcoin essentially getting back above this 9,500 hump right here. Now we're focusing directly on Bitcoin. And I would kind of be expecting something like that, especially if the daily total does close above that 240 billion mark on the total market cap. Going over here to spot Bitcoin price action, we do kind of see a little bit of difference between Bitcoin and total market cap. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people are calling this or considering this a test of the 200 simple already. I would say, it's close enough. Nah, I think it actually swipes it again here. And realistically, I would not really consider anything, anything broken or rejected, at least for another couple days, actually. And the reason why I say this is because to confirm a rejection, we're going to need to to first actually formally test this region, and then I want to see an actual close below, confirming a local high here, meaning that at this price point we'd probably have to come back down below 8,700ish region to destroy this what is right now a higher low. By the same token, if we're actually going to if we're going to take out the 200 simple moving average to the upside, I want to see both an open and close on a daily low above the 200 simple right here. We're at a major macro area coming up, and in my opinion, that's not the time to fuck around and get like too cute with trying to be a little bit more ahead of the game than the others. As when we're talking about macro, we're talking about months and months, sometimes even years of price action here. So at the end of the day, I think a little bit of caution in the higher time frames is going to go a long ways, and in the lower time frames, it is looking like we are gearing up for likely another test of that region. So I want to follow from yesterday's analysis. Yesterday, I actually was looking for a little bit more of a pullback than what we were dealing with right here. In fact, I think we were opting off for this chart right here. Yes, we were looking at this nice little rectangle, very very simple. And at the end of the day, it did end up making higher lows, and that created a nice ascending triangle. So bulls won this one out, and I do believe that we are going to see this measure move hit somewhere around about 9,100 to 9,150ish region in this blue box territory right here. So I do think that Bitcoin is going to work its way up there, and this is why I talk. And this is what technical analysis is about really here. While my bias yesterday was to the downside, I wasn't taking trades to the downside because we hadn't broken below. I mean, first and foremost, we haven't even made any lower lows below, even on a 4 hour here. But more importantly, this horizontal right here, kind of holding this consolidation up at around 8,600, while it was tested multiple times, never broke. And that's how I keep myself out of trouble when having my bias wrong. But trading is different than my bias, of course. That's why I always say my opinion is worthless. My opinion, it doesn't matter. And a lot of people have been very, very generous with the way that they've kind of been saying that, like the last couple of weeks of price action have been getting very right. It's not always going to be like that. And that's what technical analysis is all about. It's about finding statistical setups, which naturally means that over time, if you have like an 80% chance to win, there's still going to be 20% where you're not going to win. Now, I don't really know of too many edges that have 80% chance to win, but just for example's sake. Anyways, right on over here, we have taken the northern path. We did just get the 4 hour delta closing above the top side of resistance. So this is now confirmed as an ascending triangle broken to the upside. Volume is decent, as a confirmation tool. And I do believe that we're going to work our way into this blue box territory, another, like a couple $100 higher, anywhere between about 90.50 to about 91.50ish region. And I do think that we'll probably reach up to the back of the end of that one. Now, I do think that Bitcoin's very likely to pull back from this region once again, just because we are going to see all of our medium time frame oscillators get very tired in this region. But for right now, while we're focused on the lower term time frames, we do see that Bitcoin is gearing up for another move to the upside. 4 hour Stokes did come down to the area that we spoke about yesterday, but I was looking for this area to be tested, and again to kind of like just speak about why I was thinking the way I was thinking. I was looking for this area to be tested on 4 hour Stokes. But I was looking for a lower price level on that region. Instead, Bitcoin just holds a higher low, so completely fine. So this is actually a lot more bullish than not, holding around the bullish control zone and back up again. So I do think that we're going to give again another test the upside here. 4 hour RSI is fine. Looking constructive. Looks like it wants to give another test up in this region. Yes, we will be building some divergences, but that also means that we're probably going to get another try higher here. And 4 hour historical volatility percentile actually not that helpful because I'm gonna actually put on Bali's settings here and see how it changes it. Or do I want to do 10? All right, we'll do 10 100. How about this? Okay, there we go. And let's see how it operates on a 4 hour. It's actually not too much different, to be fair. Anyways, I really want to see it on the lower term timeframes, which I'd imagine have fully contracted and are now expanding. And yes, that's essentially what we do see. They didn't fully contract though, so fair enough. And Bitcoin actually rallying up now, so it looks like we're going to maybe even see this on screen, which would be kind of cool. I might even take some trades if we do hit those targeted areas. But yeah, the second that we start, or sorry, not the second, but the second that we, or sorry, the second, it's like. I can't even follow my own fucking words. God damn it. What I'm trying to say is, if we can actually maintain above the moving average on the historic volatility percentile, I would expect this expansion to actually lead us up a little bit higher. And our next sort of climax is gonna pop up when we do hit that red territory once again, which you can see right here. We have plenty of room to go. So, is it possible that Bitcoin actually does just absolutely float on through this region? Yeah, possible. But realistically, I'd really want to see it happen. Yeah, I really want to see like 4 hour deltas closing above the top side resistance first. until that happens, I do believe that this is going to be your next little local high here. Now, if Bitcoin did close above, let's call it like 9150, 9200 on a 4-hour even, I would actually target the next move towards 94, 9500. So another $200, $300 move to the upside. Well, actually a little bit more than that, which is becoming less and less of a percentage move, but still very much tradable. And as it stands right now, I do believe that this breakout is essentially more or less confirmed. And I do believe that it's more or less valid. You know, I don't think that we're going to get like any sort of a major stop hunt or anything like that. I don't think that we're going to get like any sort of a major fake out. But of course, at the end of the day, you know, the invalidation point for that would basically be just our last little breakout point right here at about 8,800 even. So there you go. And going through our lower time frames once again, you know, do we see anything else of note? 3-hour Stokes following the 4-hour, looking good here, looking constructive. I do like that. I think 2-hour already up as well. Indeed, they are. In fact, even following the same trend line, or not the same trend line, but a similar trend line that we see on the 4-hour. So good constructive behavior over time. And we do see hourly Stokes getting way up there, but they kind of just speak more to like the very short-term moves, whereas the other ones speak to more the more like the medium term and just the general momentum of those, you know, of those time frames. So yeah, looking okay here, and I think we just got new highs actually, or at least new highs on GDAX. We hit 9,000 even. So Vegeta's coming back into this market, baby. He's yelling his face off. It's over. No, it's not. It's just at 9,000. Power levels are exactly 9,000, not over, not under, exactly equal to 9,000, baby. And yeah, actually, Bit Mexico did actually make an earlier high at 90.11.5. Interesting. Anyways, that's besides the point. All lower time frames, momentum oscillators, not just Stokes, but also RSI are looking fine here. In fact, RSI is saying that we have more room to go. Yes, we will be building divergences, of course, you know, but that also that also likely includes that we do move our way back up on over here, which means we probably move higher on price action. I'm curious what the 2 hours looking like. Yep, very, very similar. 3 hours going to be about the same. Yep. Okay, so all good. Constructive behavior over the long period, you know, over the short periods of times here, and volatility kind of expanding in the direction of the breakout. So I do like that. Anyways, overall, I want to now check out the medium-term timeframes and see what we're doing right in over here. We got 10-hour Stokes coming, actually crossing back up. Jesus Christ, they are very much mature within this region. But the key in these areas, when price action is trending rather than ranging, which is what we're doing right now, I would be looking at the RSI, and RSI for these timeframes is going to be pretty damn good in my estimation, my experience. You know, a 10-hour RSI right here looks fine. Again, we will be building some divergences, but that does likely suggest that we're going to move up a little bit higher here. So 10 hours looking okay, looking constructive. 12 hours, same sort of thing. You know, again, there's going to be divergences built up. So the next sort of, you know, potential topping area, at least for a short, medium-term play, would be around that 91, 9200-ish region, as we spoke about earlier. If that area does get taken out, I would look towards about 9500. Maybe even 96. So looking a lot more interesting here. Anyways, I'm curious how the daily's looking. We spoke about this yesterday. Daily RSI was the key. We do have a change of behavior confirmed as of about a few days ago, but I want to follow up on this once again just because it is quite important. We do see that daily RSI is getting above the same area that's held us back ever since essentially June of 2019, which was when Bitcoin put in this high at about $14,000 right in over here. So Bitcoin's been allergic to the bullish control zone ever since, getting rejected right here in early July on this run, getting rejected right here on this run to 12, getting rejected once again right here on this failed rally to 10.5, and then of course testing it multiple times over here, being constructive, and then breaking above. I do believe that is likely indicative that we're going to see more longer term, but short, medium term time frames, you know, we probably do play out a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of down from that from that lower 9,000 region, and then after a nice little consolidation and letting some of the lower time frame momentum oscillators cool off a little bit, then I'd probably look for another test the upside actually, because I do think that we are seeing sustained behavior here, which is pretty damn important. Daily Stoch's going to be getting way up there, so they usually don't like to stay up there for that long, to be fair, but we do have some instances in some very, 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 very intense upwards markets where we do get stuck up there, just also between the critical zone and the and like the very, 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 very upper echelons of this region. But Again, that does suggest that we probably do find like a medium-term top somewhere around the 200 simple, I'd imagine, on the daily. Anywhere between about 91, 9200, I think would be my first target. And then again, if that area gets taken out, I would look towards 95-ish, give or take about $50, something like that. And I'm essentially bullish here as long as we are, especially above about 8720-ish region. Now, if Bitcoin does come back down below 8720, I do believe that we're going to see a much more deeper retracement into the mid 8,000s, around 8500-ish region, but that looks to be like the less likely thing to happen right now. I also want to talk about the major exponential moving average cross that we pointed out about I think it was like late last week, which was in the process of happening, which I just want to follow up on it now because, well, if you're in the TA program, I like to focus on these sorts of things because it's really good to see it in the program and then see it in real time and see how see how price action responds. And I'm talking about the yellow 21 and the green 55 right here, which have crossed the upside. We got the bullish cross on them, and more importantly, they're getting divergence away from each other. And this is exactly what you want to see. You see a nice consolidation as they cross, boom, major move up, and they get more divergence away from each other. And I do believe that's going to be suggestive that this move gets sustained for a little bit longer of time. We do see that the last time we got this bullish cross was basically leading us out of the 2018, 2019 bear market right here. From a price point of about 37.50, and really didn't start to collapse on each other until 14,000 was put in over here. Then we get the bearish cross over here, a little bit of starter steps around, and that led us all the way from about 10.3, which is again where we got bearish, and we did not cross the upside right here. It got very close, but did not cross, no confirmed cross, and that led us all the way from 10.3 down to about 6.4 actually. So what, almost like a $4,000 move, pretty damn impressive. Anyways, as it stands right now, that just falling up over time, that quite literally does mean quite a bit to me. So if Bitcoin were to come back down, if Bitcoin were to really come back down hard, and let's just say, for argument's sake, that this is some sort of a bull trap going on right here, I would be looking for price action to get picked up anywhere around the 21 on the daily, for a more long-term type thing. At the very least, a very nice bounce, but again, a little bit further away from happening right now. But I do like to talk about these things just because, well, at the end of the day, man, I can always be wrong. But looking at the 2-day right here, this again, I don't think that that's what's going to be happening. Looking at the 2-day, we had a nice consolidation. We took out the high of the last 2-day dildo. I do believe that we're going to be working up here. In fact, the 2-day says that we're even a little bit more bullish than what I was first considering. The 2-day actually suggests that we probably go back up to about 9400-ish region, 95, around our last little prior high. So again, all these things are coming into consideration here. I would be looking for pullbacks around that region, but again, looking at 2-day RSI, change behavior here is confirmed. We are getting back into the bullish control zone for the first time since July 2019. So this is this is a big deal. Now, I do think that at some point we are going to have a nice comeback down and test around this exponential, but the longer that Bitcoin stays away from it, the more and more that it gets pulled up. And with this sort of continuation behavior right here, after a small consolidation sideways, that is quite healthy. And I do think that Bitcoin's actually, the more and more that I look at it, the better it does look. Again, 2-day momentum oscillators like Stokes does say be a little bit cautious here. These actually have been pretty damn good at getting more long-term price action, especially getting like these local highs before these long-form consolidations. So, it is probably suggestive that we do put in some, at least a little bit, probably a good amount of sideways somewhere within this region here around the last prior high. And again, that's where the macro changes for Bitcoin. Same thing as like the 240 billion area for total market cap. Now, more importantly, we're going to see CMEs close later today, and this is what I really want to focus on right now. CMEs are going to be closing for the weekend today. So we get to see the weekly close for CMEs and also GBTC to a lesser extent, but not as important to the upside in my opinion. And for CMEs right here, let me throw back on all these major moving averages and let's give it a look-see here. If CMEs close anywhere above 87, 8800-ish region, this is going to be bullish coming into next week, extremely likely. And I would be looking for, likely next week or the week after, whatever it ends up being. I don't really have like a preference for timing, but I do believe that Bitcoin would very, very, very likely test the last prior high, which again on spot price action would be about 9,500. On CMEs, actually a little bit higher than that because it would have a pretty nice premium at that price point at about 9750-ish region. So today's closure is going to be very, 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 very important. Remember that we get to see the weekly closure for CMEs CMEs today, I believe at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I could be wrong in that timing though. I believe it's 5 p.m. Either Eastern or Chicago time is when they close. So if we close, again, anywhere above about 8,700, 8,800 especially, I do believe that we will test that probably coming into next week, maybe the week after that, something like that. But we're also going to see weekly Stokes get more and more momentum. They are diverging now pretty damn strongly. So we do have once again a change of behavior here, getting above our November 5th hunt, and more importantly, going to be testing the edge of the bearish control zone relatively soon as well. And I think this actually operates a little bit better on spot price action just because it has more price action history. But again, this is the same trend line that held us up going all the way from February of 2019 right on over here, getting this low, this low right here. Sorry, let me take this off. This low right here at 3,400. Then we got the next test on that trend line right here on this low at about 7,800 before that $3,000 pump to the upside. And then once again, right on over here. So I do like that long term. And more importantly, you can see that, Bitcoin getting back up, or sorry, the weekly Stokes getting back above this little rejection that we had on that failed rally in what was it, late October to 10.5. That would again be indicative that this rally does have a little bit more oomph behind it, so to speak. Not only that, and more importantly, to that point, we do see that weekly Stokes, or sorry, weekly RSI now getting tripped up on my words. Maintaining above the exponential for the first time again since June, July of 2019. This whole rally over here. So this is all big news in my opinion, because again, we're going to see weekly close for CMEs later today, which is pretty much going to tell us where spot likely closes itself as well. Of course, yes, there is a little bit of movement on weekends, but it's typically ranging behavior, not like breakout behavior. Does happen every once in a while, but if we're going for the majority, that's what I'd say about that. Let me just make sure that I'm recording. Okay, I am recording, and my microphone's working as well, so it's off to a good start, man. And my hair. Where did my hair? Hey, what the fuck? Where the fuck did that one go? God damn. Anyways, so yeah, the weekly RSI is a big deal to me right here. At some point we probably do come back down and test around the exponential, but you can see that the exponential is going to provide a nice base of support somewhere right in the midst of the neutral zone, which to me would be a more or less healthy thing. And longer term, we do see that Bitcoin really likes to work off of the neutral zone for kind of like a long-term macro kind of identification here. Let me get rid of that. Okay, I already have it in here. Beautiful. And we're pretty much approaching the same area that has kind of like dictated the market cycles in the past for Bitcoin, anywhere in the mid 50s, like 55 to 56 region. Whenever Bitcoin's below there, we're generally bearish. You can see, back in January 2018 for this whole drama between 16,000 all the way down to 3,100, and then once we broke back above it, literally right here, this was March, April of 2019, literally on this area right here. So this is a big area, and we're approaching it. You could even say that we have approached it already. And if Bitcoin can close above this region, which it will likely have a chance, this weekend. And again, we get to see CMEs do it and confirm it later today, which is going to greatly influence this. That would be the next big piece of the puzzle, so to speak, as far as, flipping around the macro trend. Still, I'd really like to see like actual higher highs and higher lows being put in place. But one thing before the next, and got to talk about something, got to find something for the clickbait title today, baby. Bulls haven't seen this since whatever the fuck, which if you've been here long enough, man, you know that the titles on this are garbage. Like, I don't you should not come here for the fucking titles is what I'm trying to say. The titles get you in here because we play the dumb old YouTube game, and then waterboarding with informations in your fucking face with a smile. Anyways, so yeah, man, one thing before the next, but yeah, I suppose that's going to be the clickbait title today, as Bitcoin's going to have a chance to do something that it hasn't done in over a year or 6 months or whatever the fuck it was. Back in over a year. So yeah, about 6 months, whatever the fuck, man. But you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, getting back above that region and closing above here on a weekly RSI, that actually has been good enough. Good enough in the past history of Bitcoin. I'm gonna put a blue box in this region here. So yeah, gonna have a chance later today. I'm curious if CMEs look similar. Yes, indeed they do. In fact, CMEs are already above that same point, but the problem is we don't have the same sort of history for CMEs, so it does make it a little more difficult. But CMEs would actually be suggesting that perhaps we already do actually have that in the cards. Again, I'd much rather see it on spot price action to be a lot more confident within this, but CME is looking good. And of course, CMEs are going to have a chance to close above our even most nasty topside trend line for our long-term downtrend here, which, by the way, would be completing this descending channel to the upside and would imply a measure move all the way up here. Now, this is where things get a little more crazy and where I'm going to start to go down the loony bin because, am I going to call a move up to like 11,500 exactly from here right now? No, I'm not going to do something like that because that's not what I really believe. And you see these things peter out all the time. What's more important to me is getting back above that last weekly high that we have, which again is around 9,500 on spot price action. So if that were to happen, then yeah, I probably would be, I would quite literally be looking for this to get hit, and probably more so over time because, well, that usually leads into our 6 months plus moves. So yeah, and that would be confirmed again with any sort of a closure, technically speaking, above 8,400 on CMEs. Although I would say I'd take the more conservative route of looking at this and say anything above 8,800 looks really fucking good here. And again, that's going to be with momentum also just pointed back up, also weekly Stokes as well, and more or less we'd also be undoing, or perhaps not undoing, but completing the fake out of getting the bearish cross of the yellow 21 and the green 55, the same sort of importance as what we looked at on the daily, except it's on a weekly schedule, so seven times more important here. And to me that that's like a clear and obvious fake out on the market, which is likely going to lead towards a nice move to the upside. So yeah, man, a lot of things changed around here and looking good. So we're actually going to be able to confirm quite a few things, quite a few of these things later tonight with the CME's closures for the weekly. Anyways, I've already been speaking for 25 minutes. Let's go check out expected moves chart, as I'm curious how they're operating right now. But first and foremost, I want to remind myself of the lower time frame ranges and see what we're looking at right now. So again, I would imagine that we probably have some sort of resistance coming in right around about 9150, maybe 9200. And then to the downside, I'd actually be looking at about 8600 as a major point. So what I can kind of shore up what I'm saying is I am I'm short-term, medium-term bullish as long as we're especially above about 8,800. So I'd imagine that's probably going to be within the first deviation, but even more so as long as we're above about 8,600 right here. I don't really, Bitcoin can come back down, test around 8,600, that'd be fine. But we don't really destroy the structure until we actually close below there on like a 4-hour. By the same token, to the upside, if we do see that there's anything above, let's call it about 9150, 9200, then we probably will get that move to about 9500. So let's go check it out right here. What do we see? We do see, holy fucking moly, perfect, man, fucking perfect. Top side of the first in aviation is coming in right around 9200, or actually 9250. So that actually is above where that next sort of major pivot on the market is, in my opinion, or maybe not major pivot, as that would kind of incite some more like macro standing, but as far as short-term, medium-term, yes, it would be well above this next blue box territory, which again is encompassing the area between 90.50 and 91.50. So any sort of a 4-hour total close above there, and yes, I would look for the next move to bring us up, likely towards 9,500ish region, give or take. Looking at expected moves chart here, it does say that is a little bit less likely to happen today, as that is a little bit below the second standard deviation here, which would suggest that it's less than a 2.5% chance. Well, that would be get outside, to be fair, so that doesn't really count. It would be somewhere between about 2.5% and 16%, which I don't know, 9% chance happened today. But you can see that the odds are in the favor of us actually breaking out to the upside once again. To the downside, and I think this is even more important. I really don't have a huge issue with being like short term, medium term bearish, unless if Bitcoin essentially comes back down below 8,600. And as you can see, that would actually be outside of the bottom side of this first standard deviation, which would suggest that it is less than a 60% chance to happen today. So it's still a long day left to go, of course, but for right now, Bitcoin looking okay. And if I had to pester a gander right here, I probably would be looking for overall continuation, to this next target, and then from there, I'd probably look for a little bit of a pullback, and then we'll come back and probably reassess it either later tonight on Twitch, or what's more likely is that we come back tomorrow and do a little bit more of a deep dive into it because, well, I want to see more price action. But yeah, and what I also should say, of course, as always, Bitcoin does break below that 8,600-ish number. I would look for that move down to 8,350, about 8,350 to 8,300 even. Same thing as yesterday, essentially same sort of invalidations points as yesterday, just going one level to the next, and with a slight bias now, I suppose, to the upside. Even though it does make you, it makes kind of hold your breath every time that you say it. Anyways, let's go check out the Bitcoin VWAP ratio, of which this is starting to get, well, we haven't really seen an update between this and yesterday, unfortunately. Let's see, we can zoom in on this baby right here, and we do see that it's really fucking close. I think we'll have something to update on Sunday probably, but for right now, I don't think it's different enough from yesterday to confirm a true reversal on this sense, or a true change of behavior on this sense, but it looks like it wants to make it there, to be fair. Anyways, okay, cool. What else do we want to look at? We looked at CMEs, we looked at that. Let's go check out traditional markets, which I believe have new all-time highs once again. Holy shit! Been bullish on this the whole way through, and I'd continue to be bullish on it. Weekly's about to close on new all-time highs. Craziness! Holy shit! And of course, as we've been showing, there's a strong correlation between traditional markets and Bitcoin, actually. So a strong traditional markets likely does bode well for Bitcoin, and that would be another point in the favor of the bulls here. Looking at a monthly for the macro trend on traditional markets, marked by the blue line chart right here versus the white line chart in Bitcoin, we do see that they have a relatively strong correlation coefficient around 0.56, which is certainly decent enough, or it's pretty good. But more importantly, the R squared, like the fit of that is really fucking good. I mean, this is one of the highest R squareds I think I've seen across any assets, in fact, which is really interesting to me. And it does make more or less sense, because when you look at if you just eyeball these trends long term, you do see that they pretty much follow each other on the macro. When when they're both rallying, they're both rallying. When they're both coming down, they're both coming down. When they're both, well, that's typically what they do. But at the end of the day, that came out wrong. Anyways, goddamn. Anyways, I think this is actually easier to see maybe on a chart over here. We can do this one more time. I don't want to get too deep diving into it. If you want the full deep dive, definitely go check out the last long-term analysis playlist, which I upload every Sunday, for explanations on that, and also the VWAP ratio as well. But let's compare that with BLX, and we can see that on the macro here, speaking specifically to the macro, let's put this on log scale. We do see that they typically top out around the same time. Usually Bitcoin maybe like a month or two beforehand. They usually bottom around the same time, within a month. And then SPY always makes new all-time highs, sometimes to the tune of like as quick as 3 months. And then Bitcoin follows, making new all-time highs, and sometimes as much as like a year. But every time SPY does make new all-time highs first, and then Bitcoin comes, months later. So we have this example right here, tops out first, bottoms, SPY moves up, then Bitcoin, same thing right here, same thing right here, same thing right here. And then of course, more recently, they both top out about the same time in end of 2017. They both bottom about the same time, about a year later, exactly in December 2018. And then SPY's been making new all-time highs since October, November, essentially. And Bitcoin's starting to maybe pick itself up. And you could imagine that's about 3-4 months later. So we're kind of on schedule here a little bit. Not that there needs to be a schedule, but realistically, Bitcoin can take quite a bit longer. I mean, for example, right over here, SPY was making new all-time highs from this correction. In August 2016, Bitcoin was not making new all-time highs till this area right here in March 2017. So that's quite a differential right there. Same thing over here, quite a differential. SPY's making new all-time highs in April 2012, and Bitcoin's not making new all-time highs till this area right here in February 2013. So Bitcoin typically does lag quite a bit behind. So these assets do seem to be very correlated on the long term, and I would say that does bode well for Bitcoin longer term as well. So the macro could be switching around here. I'd still like to see a weekly confirm, but it's starting to look more and more to me like it's a technicality. But I do like to stay true to my guns on that one. Of course, this is just my opinion on the market. Everyone here is free to do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm not here to be your dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And there's gonna be plenty of times where I'm just like flat out wrong. But if there's anything to go off of, I do think that is more or less good for Bitcoin on the long term. We can go check out some Forex now as well. or actually before we do that, this would be one of the days where we can check out some of the top altcoins. We do have Mrs. Litecoin approaching the 200 exponential moving average right here. I do think that Mrs. Litecoin is actually looking a little bit more toppy right now than Bitcoin. In fact, looking at it daily, it is struggling around this region. Looking at a 4-hour, constructive, but building divergences here. I'm curious how a 12-hour is shaping up right now. Okay, 12-hour looks good, actually. 12-hour looks good, actually. If this one does take another leg up, I'd be looking towards $64, somewhere around here. In fact, let me throw a blue box in there. There we go, the blue box of peace and prosperity. If we can close this next 12-hour, especially above about $59.50 or $60 even better, yeah, I'd be looking for this next target area to get hit. Let's see what Mr. Buterol is looking like. 171.5. Ooh, same thing, right at the 377 on the 12-hour right here. If we can close above this one on the next tick, I probably would be looking for extension towards next targeted region, towards about 81.5, $82, somewhere up here. In fact, I'll just throw one. I won't do like a super exact one, but something like this up here, if that does happen. By the same token, invalidation point back down below 163. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's go check out Bitcoin dominance, of which I've been neglecting, but man, this one took a massive turn that I am going to be phenomenally wrong about, I think. Hold on, let's check in on it first. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to be very, very wrong about this. So I was pretty damn bullish on this coming into this week, actually, and this week just completely annihilated me. So again, a great example of me just being fucking flat out wrong here, which is one of the reasons why I don't like to trade altcoins. But hey, most of the altcoins, this would suggest that most of the altcoins have been putting in some pretty damn good rallies versus Satoshis. I'm looking around the sphere and actually don't see too many. I wouldn't expect like this price action from that. I do think that's going to put in a short-term base here and probably rally off it. So alts are probably going to be setting up for a little bit of pullbacks versus Satoshis here. But this is no longer bullish, especially if we close below about 68.5% end of weekend. So I would be looking for a pullback on alts, probably coming into next week. But after that, I'd probably look for continuation. Of course, we'll see that one in real time on Sunday. Still a lot can happen between now and then. But assuming that we do close again anywhere below 68.5%, which we're well below right now, I would be looking for this to come much further down, actually. In fact, probably down to the lower 60s, like 63.5%, 64%, which is going to make that actually is a little bit of alt season, so to speak. Jesus Christ, man, I can't believe I just said that. Dollar yen bullish, as we said, and taking that next leg up. Have we hit the next target though? Did we hit our short-term target? No, short-term target's right here. Short-term target's right here on this little local high. Close. Longer term target's gonna be in this blue box between 111 and 111.5. I do think that it's gonna get up there. Got a golden cross on the daily, looking good, just chugging its way along. What about pound yen? I think that is following his footsteps. Yes, we have taken out the last prior high. I'd be comfortable with being more long-term bullish on this now. I do think that's going to pop back up here, 146 in the medium term, and longer term we probably get another try higher than that towards this area, about 150-ish region. So this is looking good, and again, going to be closing later today. We're gonna have the 21 and the 55 cross the upside. It looks more or less good. Euro dollar, what are we doing here? Still in limbo. I'd say the same thing as yesterday. Essentially, I don't want to make a call there. I don't feel comfortable with it. I don't think that I have a good idea of what's going on there. Let's see what else do we have. I think that's about it, actually. Let's go check out Dixie. Let's go check out the dollar index, which I'm imagining is probably doing pretty okay. Yeah, $97 popping up. In fact, I do believe, was this the area that we were targeting? I know we have a trend line here, but I want to see it on daily, perhaps. Yeah, but it is in limbo. Jesus Christ, man. I'd probably stay clear of this as well. I don't feel like I have a good I don't feel like I have a good enough read on this one. If I had to say something, I would say that this is going to be a fake out to the downside. We're going to pop back up towards 98.25 next, like over this next month or so. I'd actually be bullish on it, but I do not feel so strongly. Anyways, back on to Bitcoin. Ooh, Bitcoin giving up some of this rally. Is it already over? Could this be the fake out that we're looking for? Holy shit! It's always fun to do, man. No, at the end of the day, I'm short-term, medium-term looking for us to probably pop back up and test this blue box here, as long as 4-hour dildos are maintaining above about 8,800-ish region, the same breakout point that we had earlier. So yeah, more or less the same thing right on over there. Now, if we do break down below 8,800, I would look for a full move back down to about the 8,650, 8,600-ish base down here. I'd look for another bounce there and then reassess after that. And if 8,600 does break on a 2-hour close, even maybe wait for a 4-hour just because it is kind of a bigger area, then yes, I would look for that move back down to about 8,350-ish region, give or take about $50. But for right now, things look okay. It is going to be a little bit of a tight fit coming into the weekend here. And realistically, I'm not. I'd like to take trades around these blue boxes, but not in between. Just too much can go wrong, and volatility probably on the lower time frames is looking right for a nice move. Actually, no. 30-minute historical volatility percentile is pretty much a red line there. Holy shit! I was not expecting that. Maybe we do have a short-term top here. Maybe we do have a nice. Maybe we do have a nice trappy trap in progress. Possible. Actually, very possible. Fuck it. I'll throw this video out anyways, and you know what? I'll be back on later tonight with Twitch, and by the time that we're on that, we should have clarity on the situation. If I do Twitch tonight, which I'm pretty sure I will. So with all of that said, man, I would like to wish you the best of the best and a happy end to your weekend, whatever that means for you. Wishing you well over here from very cold and not so dark anymore, Helsinki, Finland. Take care, and until next time.